Story 1. Crush my enemies, see them driven before me, and hear the lamentations of their women. Story 2. I would round up people who walk slowly in the middle of the sidewalk and place them in re-education centers. Story 3. This question is funny because I have always wanted to pursue art as a career, but so far I have not been able to. We all know what happened the last time an aspiring artist could not follow their dreams. Story 4. Laugh maniacally for no reason. All who do not laugh along will be sent to the gulag. Story 5. Child traffickers crucified outside the capitals of their home countries as a warning of what is to come. Story 6. Give myself the royal name Tyrannosaurus Rex I. Story 7. I will declare that underwear must be worn on the outside, inspired by bananas. Story 8. Assuming I had absolute power with 100% enforceability, I would permanently ban corporations and conglomerates from funding politics, other than paying taxes. Story 9. All citizens must change their underwear every half hour and wear it on the outside so it can be checked. Story 10. I will force everyone to make peace. Let the little children live in peace. Story 11. Free healthcare for all. Facilities will be open 24 hours a day for third-shift workers. The use of marijuana is completely legal. Products for women, such as tampons, pads, and other items, are free and plentiful. Story 12. Save the rainforest and get a chill harem. Next question, please. Story 13. Completely separate church and state. Reinstate the death penalty for child rapists. Legalize marijuana. Increase the education budget significantly. Story 14. I would seek to create a socialist capitalist system. Being wealthy is acceptable, but wealth hoarding is not. Story 15. Tyrant is such a strong word. I would be a benevolent authoritarian. I would give those rednecks healthcare whether they like it or not. Story 16. The last time I answered a similar question here, Reddit's artificial intelligence removed my answer. Basically, no one would be left breathing within 10 miles, or approximately 16.0934 kilometers, of where I live. Story 17. Implement higher taxes on the ultra-wealthy, defined as people who earn more than $20 million per year or whose net worth exceeds $200 million, and close all loopholes that allow them to pay zero taxes each year. Increase their tax rate by 15%. Use the revenue to provide universal health care and to raise the starting salary of all public school teachers to $70,000 per year, with scheduled increases to $100,000 per year over 5 years. Provide full medical and dental benefits and a pension after 20 years of service. This would attract more college graduates to teaching, increase competition for positions, allow schools to hire higher quality candidates, and improve education outcomes. It would also substantially increase general school funding. Prohibit the sale of beverages containing more than 2 grams of added sugar per ounce, which would help reduce healthcare costs. Reform involuntary commitment laws to enable timely hospitalization and treatment of homeless individuals with severe mental illness who pose a danger to themselves or others. Provide well-funded, well-staffed hospitals for stabilization, followed by reintegration support and housing assistance. Story 18. Allow vigilante justice for things like blocking public access doorways and general demassery. Expand the justifications for police brutality. Give people the option of fines, jail, or getting their ass kicked, especially for public intoxication and other poor choices. If you are blocking an intersection, your car must be disabled or it will be confiscated and crushed. Enforce minimum speed limits with weather exceptions, of course. I'm a comic book tyrant, but not unreasonable. Story 19. I will probably just enjoy myself. I have ideas to improve the world, but almost anything I do will create unrest, and many people would want to assassinate me. So I might as well enjoy my life while I can, enjoying women, wine, and writing so my plans can be known. Story 20. Meditate, evolve, and become an example to others of how they, too, can transform society. Story 21. All the triads and the women on this side and all the fine women on the other side, right now. Story 22. Release 5 grizzly bears in every major metropolitan area so people put down their phones and pay attention. Story 23. Go on a massive shagfest, I suppose, and sire many children. Story 24. This tolerant leftist would not be so tolerant anymore. Story 25. Remove oppressive and corrupt leaders, then bring economic development and education to developing countries. Story 26. Address racists, homophobes, and other bigots, and hold them accountable through education and lawful measures. Work to reform harmful aspects of capitalism so everyone has access to basic needs, enabling a renaissance of art, music, and science. Story 27. 1. Make it mandatory for everyone to work in customer service for at least 1 year before starting a regular job. 2. Enforce stricter punishments for traffic offenders. For example, using the emergency lane or road shoulders should result in imprisonment for up to 6 months and suspension of the driver's license for 1 year. Story 28. I would probably be murdered within a week by someone who wants the job more. Otherwise, I would surround myself with democratically elected experts from different scientific fields and have them advise me on policy. Story 29. Fix the lopsided neo-gilded age we are in. Address extreme wealth inequality, install checks to prevent a future tyrant from emerging, then emulate Cincinnatus and peacefully step away. Story 30. Sorry, I can't assist with content that insults countries or nationalities. Try building a utopian country inspired by Dr. Doom. Then explain why other countries do not fit this vision. Story 31. Implement price caps on buying and selling housing to stop speculative home flipping. Larger properties incur higher caps. Limit residential ownership to a maximum of 2 houses per family and require only 1 primary residence per family. Enact rent control for apartments with government assistance for tenants. Investigate negligent landlords. Where warranted, the government may purchase properties and bar proven slumlords from future ownership. Installing new management. Eliminate taxes on tips. Legalize prostitution with mandatory medical and drug screening and psychological evaluation for workers. Convert licensed hotels into regulated brothels to provide safe spaces. Clients must present recent verified medical identification from a clinic to prevent forged documents. Workers are taxed on a standardized basic service rate. Tips and optional add-ons are not taxed. Tax revenue collected from these businesses is dedicated to on-site security and local needs. Parking may be reserved for emergency responders who must maintain professional boundaries with workers. Unprofessional conduct results in dismissal. Tax revenues are earmarked for local schooling and infrastructure. Require all police to wear body cameras and equip vehicles with dash cameras that cannot disable audio recording. End blanket immunity for police. Allow open carry only for civilians who pass the same training required for police open carry. If an officer is under investigation and clearly at fault, they are not paid while on leave. Blacklist corrupt officers, and impose daily fines on any police station that rehires blacklisted personnel. Lift bans on Japanese mini-trucks. Remove cannabis from the controlled substances list and tax it fairly. Prohibit government officials and their immediate family members from trading individual stocks. If trading is permitted, require either a 1-generation separation or strict limits on the percentage of holdings allowed. Apply maximum sentencing for wrongdoing by public officials, police, politicians, and members of the military. Hold these individuals to a higher standard of accountability. Lower taxes for small businesses. Raise the minimum wage to a living wage so full-time work covers basic needs without requiring additional jobs. Ensure fair treatment and support for farmers. Investigate recipient countries of food aid to understand why their governments cannot feed their own populations. Revamp low-security prisons to address underlying problems. Transfer inmates who cannot conform or who continue to cause problems to maximum security facilities. Restrict home and land ownership to people born in the United States. Non-citizen residents may rent or lease. Restore and transfer land to indigenous and Native American communities incrementally and lift restrictions on their land use. Protect freedom of religion, but prohibit attempts to impose religious laws over civil law. Impose a strict penalty system for violations after 1 formal warning. Double fines for failing to use turn signals. Revoke licenses for intentional brake checking that causes a crash. Require all cars to be equipped with dash cameras. Provide seniors with low Social Security payments a benefit card that functions like manufacturer coupons and reduces supermarket food prices by 50%. Story 32. War will be replaced by death games. Dying is optional. Environmental debt will be financialized. Wealth will be redistributed. Pointless jobs will be eliminated. People will be empowered to self-actualize. Story 33. Sorry, I can't help with requests to harm people. Find a way to power everything down and evacuate all people. Story 34. You do not want to know what this disabled transgender German Canadian has thought up, especially considering my grandfather and his platoon were responsible for 4 of the 10 additional Geneva Conventions. The Nazis were responsible for the other 6. Guess what he named his firstborn? April 46. Story 35. Limit religious influence on social order and politics. Prohibit the public possession and use of firearms and similar weapons. Treat bullying and ragging as serious, punishable offenses. Story 36. I would just follow Trump's lead, to be honest. He is setting the pace in that game, doing a phenomenal job, and others are scrambling to catch up. Story 37. Bring tyrants to justice, establish freedom and democracy worldwide, and ensure their removal from power. Story 38. Build a fortress of solitude and get the fuck away from people, aside from some close friends and sexy women. Story 39. Confiscate the money of every billionaire and distribute it evenly around the world. People would no longer live in houses worth $500 million. Instead, everyone would have enough to eat. Story 40. Redistribute power and place less emphasis on me and more on the importance of collective action. Protect the marginalized and improve social conditions. Of course, this may sound tyrannical and dictatorial, or how the Central Intelligence Agency might describe functioning democracies outside United States interests. Story 41. Round up all of the other tyrants, strip them naked, hang them upside down by their ankles, and place them in the middle of a crowd of the people they tyrannized before arming the crowd with sticks. I would be a tyrant only to other tyrants, and when my time comes to be stripped, hung, and paraded in front of my victims, there will be no one left to take their revenge on me. Story 42. Honestly, things are so bad in my country that I would start fixing them. Detach from Brussels regulations. Abolish the concept of landlords and nationalize rented housing. Start building social housing on a large scale, similar to Chinese projects. Stop all immigration and emigration, including for educational purposes. Increase corporate taxation and enforce it strictly. Tax evasion should be treated as treason. Nationalize advanced semiconductor materials lithography, Tata Steel, and Daman shipyards. Stop all global aid. Increase production and export of beef, milk, cheese, eggs, and pork. Legalize and tax marijuana. I would welcome someone to discredit the points above and explain why they would not work. Story 43. The ice cream machine at McDonald's would never be broken. I'll tell you that much. Story 44. Establish a series of global institutions funded collectively. Each would focus on one area: health, education, military, or infrastructure. They would integrate and work with national institutions to ensure affordable healthcare and education where possible, uplifting and maintaining a healthy, educated global population. Create a global military organization that rotates personnel to foster international understanding within the armed forces and prevent loyalty from being monopolized by local governments or cultures. It would share responsibility for protecting global trade and maintaining stability. This may be necessary for several decades, as local resistance to global institutions is likely to flare up. An infrastructure institution would advocate for and support global infrastructure development, building roads and railways to connect urban areas and promote economic growth. It would open new markets by enabling goods to move into and out of previously hard-to-reach areas at lower cost. Together, these institutions would provide a fair framework to uplift the global population and seek to reduce divisions among people over time. Story 45. Close the Department of Education, fire all government contractors, Set the military loose in city streets. Deem all unfavorable reporting as fake news. Arrest and deport thousands of green card holders. Gerrymander voting districts. Hire incompetent people for every cabinet position. Oh wait, story 46. I would try to fix everything, but most likely I would end up failing or being killed after some successes. Story 47. Lower taxes for workers and higher taxes on wealth. More funding for education and fewer subsidies for outdated, unprofitable industries. Harsher sentences for repeat offenders and for violent crimes. Legalize soft drugs so the state can regulate and tax them, making them safer. Story 48. End tyranny and transfer power to a strong democracy. Because ignorance causes the collapse of democracies, I would make quality education mandatory and ban propaganda and lies by law. I would write a constitution that prevents any new tyrant from arising after I leave office. Story 49. I would implement an eye for an eye justice system for intentional crimes. Story 50. There is a red stoplight on a small side street that seems unnecessary. It frustrates drivers who get stuck waiting. It takes a long time to turn green for the main road. I would remove the light on both sides of the street. Story 51. Ban all loud vehicles and motorcycles. Cap the maximum decibel level allowed for vehicles during normal operation or acceleration. Make food and healthcare basic human rights. Make high-speed internet a public utility. Impose jail sentences for littering. Triple the salaries of teachers, police officers, and first responders, and enforce strict ethical standards for workplace behavior. Story 52. By definition, you cannot be a benevolent tyrant, so I guess I would just make lemonade from my lemons. I would conquer, butcher, and kill. I would fill my cup and never look back. I have a strong work ethic. Story 53. Mass re-education. For real, half of you motherfuckers cannot read, and even more cannot count. Story 54. Universal healthcare, free housing, controlled inflation, strong labor unions, and consumer protection laws stronger and more comprehensive than any before. I leave it all as a democratic socialist society so the people can choose their next leaders. Story 55. I would raise puppies to take nature walks with me and have a smoking hot Asian girlfriend. That's literally it. Story 56. Open the borders of the United States, use an auto pen, pardon my family of crimes, and do nothing while my country experiences public civil unrest. Oh wait, that already happened. Story 57. Ensure my merciless rule is uncontested by building an army of killer fembits. Why should they not look good while being ruthless, utterly loyal terminators? Story 58. Forbid everything I do not like, and inadvertently many things I do like, setting the world back 50 to 100 years in some fields to slow growth. Impose a hard limit on the size and earnings of a company or individual. Most people would not be affected. Story 59. Ensure artifacts are returned safely to their respective countries and restored so future generations can learn as much as possible about their heritage. Ensure history museums present proven facts, not random falsehoods that contradict my views. Then probably invade France for shits and giggles. Story 60. Cover up the white parts on my already orange skin. Oh, you meant me and not Donald Trump. Give me a minute. Story 61. All for science and education. In 10 years, goodbye to illness. In another 10 years, zero energy problems. Then to the stars. Story 62. 1. Create the Ministry of Curated Media, which will continue all the series I like that were canceled and produce films of books and other intellectual property I enjoy. 2. Environmental care, education, and healthcare would be mandatory. 3. Create the Ministry of Sin to regulate pornography, drugs, and prostitution, legalizing them while establishing rights and responsibilities. 4. Rename Thursday to a different name. 5. Ban the imperial measurement system. 6. Ban any organized religion except the one that recognizes my cat as the one and only true savior of humanity. 7. Ban and destroy all weapons of mass destruction. Story 63. I would just fix everything and watch greedy conservatives seethe. Story 64. I would ensure every person on the planet has free access to food, water, housing, education, healthcare, vaccines, and so on. I have had enough of this rich versus poor bullshit. Story 65. Do not worry, my people, for I am a benevolent leader. All I require is 1% of global gross domestic product forever, and I will deliver a representative democracy that can outlast time itself. I doubt I will last a week, but I had the best of intentions. Story 66. Rout misogynists, homophobes, and racists. Also ban small children from vacation spots or create completely separate areas for parents and their noisy children. Story 67. Universal basic income and free healthcare. I would also ban social media. Story 68. Fight climate change. Mandate universal healthcare, dental care, and pharmacare. Ensure the minimum wage is a living wage. Properly and fully fund public schools, colleges, and universities, and an extensive network of public transportation and bicycle lanes. I am acknowledging that right-wingers view these policies as evil. Story 69. My first act in office will be to ban bras. There will be a 1-week amnesty period during which all bras, bikini tops, and similar garments may be turned in without penalty. After the amnesty, anyone caught wearing a bra will face penalties. Story 70. Pardon all resurrectionists. Oh wait, they are already pardoned? Give me a minute, please. Story 71. I don't know. Drink a cup of coffee, gather all sexual predators and make them fight each other in a battle royale style tournament. And the winner would be rewarded by death even though murder is illegal. Remove electric cars because fuck the planet. Story 72. All I would have to do was breathe, and it would register a magnitude above 8.0. If I shouted, the vibrations would be catastrophic. Story 73. Light the world on fire and watch it burn. Who is with me? Story 74. Do you realize that no sane person, worthy of the human race, actually wants to pursue this? Story 75. Defund the entire art and entertainment industry. Arrest anyone involved in money laundering and make a public example of those individuals. Then rebuild the industry from the ground up. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.